Okay, so starting over because this is the second time I've done this now. Basically today we're gonna do what if I was in My Hero Academia, you know, the Red King. Basically, my power is going to be master shadow manipulation. Basically, what that means is, when I'm just gonna say, I was trying to create a new shadow creature that I've never made before, and I accidentally got warped into the My Hero verse by accidentally making a portal. So once I was falling from.
Wow. Put your arm back in.
No, not back in.
I'm gonna get Bubby to beat you upside your noggin. Bro, put that back on him before I knock him in the nose.
Alright. Anyway, so I'm gonna say that I was falling from the sky as like the sports festival. Cause why not?
Bubby, I'm not helping.
As the not the USJ, the sports festival was going on. If you don't know what the sports festival is, just go watch My Hero. You'll understand. So I'm gonna say, forgetting something. Oh yeah, I'm falling in.
I'm falling in love with your butthole.
Don't say that, please. Oh Lord. Anyway, so yeah, I was falling. I hit the ground, but I didn't go splat.
Pushy. Hey, bro. Broski. Bro.
I'm on it.
You go freeze your little baby kitten dolls.
Get back here. Anyway, so I'm gonna say I crashed in the hey! No hit!
Do not attack the boys, you mean big booty baby. Oh no, Kara's face, she's a whopping him. She's a whopper.
It's a whopper! Sweet cheese! Oh Lord!
Potamus is a whopping, everybody. You did not wash your hair. Well, no, you.
Come here, bro.
The top of her head wet?
I don't know.
No, it's not. It's dry. I can see.
Which is very dry.
No, it's not. You didn't.
Anyway.
It's not. Go wash your hair right or we'll whip you. She didn't wash it.
Hey. Leave your shirt on. So I'm gonna say, I crashed right in as they're about, the giant explosion happens that sends, Midoriya out the ring. I'm gonna say I was in the epicenter, so that hurt. Not even gonna lie. So once I once it hit, it was immediate. It was pretty much nullified. So neither of them got blasted out of the ring. So, I was hit and I was like, ow. As I sat up and I was like, oh, it hurt. I had I had burn marks and stuff like that. I'm gonna say, my shadow started wrapping around the spots where I was damaged and started healing me. I was like, wow, that kind of hurt. So where am I? I stand up, I see I'm in the center of a giant coliseum. I'm like, what is going on here? What's wrong with him?
Duder's top of his shirt is behind his neck.
Anyway, so I'm just gonna say that once I, crashed into the, the sports festival, you know, all the heroes are like, who's this guy? You know, they're getting on edge because they just had a villain attack. You know, Midoriya is knocked out. Todoroki is barely conscious. I look at them both and I'm like, wait a minute. Green hair, red and white hair. All Might, you know, jumps down behind me and yells, I am here very loudly. And it spooks me. I'm like, ah! You know, I turn around and I'm like, hold up. You're All Might. I swear I've seen these people before. Where? You know, I have like the thinking emoji happening. I'm extremely perplexed. I'm like, wait a minute. What did you do?
I went to open my coffee cup to take a drink, and I'm sitting there going, why? What was it?
You are so goofy. Leave him alone.
I'm trying to turn him out of here.
Anyway,
Wait, where did I go?
so I'm gonna say, you know, I'm like, wait a minute. A Coliseum, uniforms. I'm gonna say, you know, my eyes. You know, the white part goes red, and like you know, where the color of your eyes turns red, while the white part turns black. I'm gonna say I begin looking around. I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Am I in the U.S.? Am I in
When your hair's dry, if it don't look like you
the
washed it
Am I in the sports festival? Wait a minute. That means I'm in the My Hero Academia world. How did it get here? Wait a minute. If this is a sports festival, which one am I in? Am I in the first or the second one? Well, judging by that broken arm and the man over there being, you know, being damaged, I'm gonna say that I'm still in the first. That means the USJ attack has already happened, so. And while all this is happening, all the heroes are mobilizing around me. I'm like, huh? And you know, they're like, what are you doing here? And are you working for the villains? I'm like, villains? Oh, them. I know. Ah! Ah! Boom. Ah! 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 So I'm gonna say, you know, once Izuku was, you know, once all the heroes jumped down, I mean. Yeah. So, I'm gonna say that, when, you know, Todoroki and Midoriya start waking up, they're like, what's going on? I'm like, huh. Shush. Anyway, I'm gonna say that, can you not try to put this hat on me? I don't like that hat. Alright, you want me to wear it, I'll wear it. So, once you know, all the heroes were surrounding me, and I was like, am I forgetting something? Ow. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, oops. Yeah, just to let you know, I'm just gonna say this ahead of time, I don't work for, the villains. I'm more of a hired hand. I came here by accident. I'm gonna say, sorry, I keep getting distracted. I'm gonna say, I'm like, oh, that's why you're so nervous. You think I work for those bunch of idiots. I know who you're talking about because I've been to the future. I came back to the past for a few reasons. One, to help you guys out. Two, to take out the guy that's going to try and destroy the world, essentially. So, yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna say, bye. I'm gonna say when, All Might's like, so, why are you here? I say, dude, I just explained why I'm here. It was an accident. I didn't mean to get brought back here. Gonna be honest. I meant to travel a little further into the future to hopefully, or was it the past? I don't remember. To essentially stop the, all of the attacks from happening. So,
We'll see. We'll see.
so once I, stand up, I'm like, alright, look, if there's something I can do to prove my innocence, then please, allow me. Nezu walks up and he's like, okay, tell me, if you are from the future, like you say you are, what happens in the near future? I grab my chin and start stroking it, like, well, if I tell you, that would completely defeat the purpose. Give me a specific time period, give me a specific time zone, like a year or two from now, and I'll be able to tell you. And I'll be able to tell you what happens during that year. They say exactly like half a year from now. I'm like, oh, that's a very interesting and very specific date. That's actually the date that All Might over here and a certain someone have their round too. All Might is like a special who. And I say, oh, you know his name, or at least you should. Then again, you thought you have killed him. You might have thought you've killed him, but just like you, he survived. Very fatal wounds. Then again, he has a whole bunch of quirks. You suspected he was alive, but I came here to confirm your conclusions. So anyway, if you need you any more questions? Yes. Where is their base? Problem with that is I may have done my research, but I kind of forgot. Don't worry, it'll come back to me eventually. Bah. So I'm gonna say once I stand up. I'm gonna say, once I get up, all the heroes are like, okay, so what are you coming to help us do? Survive the coming months. Also, you want me to fix these two? Because they look pretty hurt.
Pretty good.
So anyway. Once I snap my fingers, void tendrils start, shadow tendrils start wrapping around them. And, once they recede, they're fully healed. Anyway. So anyway, I'm gonna say, we all start walking back to like a backstage area, and I'm like, All Might, you only have half an hour in your hero form. if I were you, I'd find a way to get that injury of yours fixed. You know, he's like, so you know about the injury too? He's like, yep, just as like I know Izuku is your successor and you gave him your quirk. Oh, by the way, I also know about that. He's like, how do you know about that? You know, he begins to bring back his arm to, you know, deliver a punch. I'm like, calm your horses. Only reason I know is because in the future, me and Izuku become friends. Which is a complete lie, considering I'm from a different world where I've seen everything happen. I'm like, boy, am I glad I watched every season that came out. After season 4, I'm kind of in trouble. Also, I don't even think they've come out with season 5 yet. They might have. I don't know.
Can I have my cup back?
She's like, no, mine.
Bub, go put that up for me.
Can I have it? Thank you. Good job. Pat, pat. No, pat, pat. Anyway. So I'm going to say that once we got back there, they started asking me very specific questions about very specific time periods. And for certain ones I declined, other ones I shared a little bit of information. I was like, wait a minute. Don't mess up the time stream, but I don't want her to suffer. And they're like, and who are we talking about? This little girl named Eri, you know, her blood is being used to make bullets that can completely erase quirks. Although he's probably still in the development stage, so that means he probably still hasn't figured out a way to mass produce them just yet. Although eventually, here in a few years, he will be, a year from now, he'll eventually be able to, you know, perfectly replicate a serum that completely nullifies the quirk gene, and then he'll create reverse bullets also out of her blood that bring back the quirk gene. Eventually, he'll make enough money to where he can mass produce these enough to wipe out all of the quirks. Although, it's going to be harder to track him down because he's constantly moving bases, and I don't know every single one's exact positions. I can only give you a decent estimate of where they're located. You know, everyone's like, so wait, you're that far into the future? I'm like, dude, I came from 50 years from now. I came 20 years from now in the future. As a matter of fact, I wonder if I still have access to my control of my quirk when I came from there. It's like, oh, this works. You know, I snap my fingers and my shadow arm, you know, a shadow armor appears around me. I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. You know, I hold out my hand and a sword appears. You know, I swing it and it cuts. I'm just gonna say it accidentally cuts one of the teacher's coffee cups. I'm gonna say it was Aizawa's. And hush. And I'm also gonna say that you know, a miniature, you know, like an owl made of shadows kind of appears. You know, it still has white feathers. It just, you know, its eyes are black and red. Black on the outside, red on the inside, you know. Makes sense. You know, I hold out my right arm, and I'm like, okay. What do I need you to do? I was like, oh, that's right. Alright, you can go away. I'll give you orders in a minute. I'm gonna say, you know, it holds out one of its wings, and it bows, and it gets absorbed in the armor. It's made of shadow, okay? Hush. It's not like my armor ate a bird. No. It absorbed it and made it into shadows. Anyway. I was like, okay. I threw them off all the main antagonist trails. I was like, wait a minute. Is she still gone? I think I might have jumped to an alternate timeline, though I don't know. Is Nana gone? You know, All Might's like, yeah, how do you know about her? I'm like, Izu told me. Eventually, he'll gain her power along with the other one. All of the other users of OFA. You know, All Might, you know, he does like that, like, he does like a what face. And, I'm like, oh, spoilers. Right. So, what are we gonna do about all this? So what are you gonna do with all this information I told you? And by this point, I took off my shadow armor because I know, you know, I want them to know I'm not a threat. You know, they're like, well, considering you've told us so much, we can't exactly leave you out there, because if we did, the villains would probably hunt you down for information about the future. And some of them may have very persuasive means. I'm like, huh. Well, that does make sense. Anyway. So, what? Are you gonna enroll me into this school? You know, Nezu's like, that's actually quite the brilliant idea. I'm like, wait, what? No, it was a joke. Don't make me go back. I hate this school. Although it was the future one. The principal sucked. But still, I don't want to go back. He's like, well, too bad. If you don't want to, you could always go back to your time. Or can you not do that? You know, I get a little aggravated like this. And I'm like, if I could go back, I'd already be back. My stupid power went all haywire, and now my energy reserves are pretty much depleted. I can only do that trip once every 5 months. I can only do that trip at least twice a year. I can do that trip every year. I can make a trip back in time a whole year. I found this out by accident while training with my quirk. It took me 5 years to save up enough power to come back here. So I guess I'm stuck here. Luckily, my body is essentially immortal as long as I have a shadow. My body will constantly regenerate as long as I can create a shadow. This is bull. Anyway. I get up, you know, I scratch the back of my head and I guess I am stuck going to this school again. And even though I graduated. And they were like, wait, you're a pro hero? I'm like, yes, I was a pro hero. And they're like, was? Yeah, I got a massive injury before I figured out my quirk could be regenerated. You know, I ran into an issue. And they're like, this issue was Shigaraki gained All for One. Oh, also, major manga spoilers. Should put that. Crap. Yeah. Shigaraki gained All for One. And after that, he became unstoppable. I'm going to push the timeline back a little bit so they have a little bit more time to prepare. After he gains All for One, he gains a whole bunch of quirks, and then a gigantic freaking guy with a quirk called Mountain begins trying to go to Shigaraki to help him. Midoriya, Bakugo over there, sacrificed his life to save Midoriya. Then Midoriya went berserk. And after I saw that, I was like, I need to change this future. I will change it. So, well, then I came back. And after I came back, I had forgotten a little bit until I realized where I was. Which was exciting, to say the least, to know that it actually worked. And I was sent back this far. Well, my power is a little bit weaker than it normally was. And they were like, wait, weaker? I was like, yeah. I used to be able to make a whole shadow castle before teleporting back here. Now the most I can do is make a few hundred skeleton warriors. Shadow skeleton warriors. Try saying that 5 times fast. Although, with every day, as long as if I'm in complete shadow for around a month, my energy rate, my energy absorption rate practically quadruples. I regenerate energy a lot quicker if I'm in darkness. The brighter the area, the harder it is for me to regenerate. I'm gonna say someone, was standing outside the door taking notes. I'm like, so, what are you doing? I snap my fingers and the person's, a shadow of the person comes out of the ground and holds a knife, not really, basically a shadow knife to their throat, and begins walking them in to the, teacher's lounge, and they're like, what the? Who should I make the UA? Who should I make the traitor? Ooh, that's a good question. It wouldn't be. Would it be? No, it couldn't have been Power Loader. You know what? I'm gonna make it. No, I'm gonna make it Mineta because Mineta. And they're like, Mineta, you work for the villains? I was like, oh, yeah, your suspicions were right. This idiot, I bop him in the head. Right here is the UA traitor. They promised him things I don't want to talk about. And Midnight's like, understandable. Have a nice day. They're like, Mineta, you are under, I don't remember his last name. You're under arrest. I don't like Mineta, so he's already gone. Anyway, so I guess we do have a spot open in Class 1A. So, I have my bag and crap. I have my ties loose. The flannel is not mostly unbuttoned. It is mostly unbuttoned, but it's still buttoned in certain parts. So, my tie's loose. I'm walking to class, with the binder that I got. And I'm like, I walk in, I go sit down, and everyone's like, who are you? The only one who really walks up to me is Midoriya and Mineta. Not Mineta, Mina, not Mineta, Mina, not Mineta. I am stupid. Shut up. They're like, so you're the one from the sports festival, and I'm like, yeah, why? Midoriya's like, oh, so what's your quirk? How'd you survive that attack? How did you survive the combined power of our attack? Shut up! Sorry about that. So anyway, they're like, he's like, I'm like, oh, so that's what you wanted to come over here for. I breathe a sigh of relief as them not noticing that I literally fell from the sky. I'm like, well, that's because of my quirk. Midoriya, he takes out his notepad and he's like, spill everything. And I'm like, jeez, I don't remember you as a kid, but God. I say that in my head, I'm like, Christ, I forgot how much of a crazy guy he is about quirks. I sigh, I'm like, alright. Basically my quirk is similar to Tokoyami's. Tokoyami's like, so you can create a shadow. You have a power similar to mine. How do you contain its dark energy? I'm like, God, you are so emo. And he's like, what? Yeah. Your power may get stronger in the dark. Use it. And the more you use it, the more control you gain. The more control, I'm gonna say, I create like a cane, slam it on the ground, put 2 hands on it, and a whole bunch of, technically shadow warriors that kind of aren't there but are there appear behind me, and I finish by saying, the more power and control. The more powerful the quirk, the more control you must have. If you have no control, then you have no power. That is a few things I picked up learning how to use my quirk effectively. And I sigh, saying, you know what? With you guys, it's in one ear and out the other, I'm guessing. So why did I even bother? You know, Tokoyami, I'm gonna say Mina. You know, pretty much everyone in Class 1A do like a, oh, that makes a lot of sense face. They realize where I'm coming from and what I'm talking about. And I say, look, you know, gesturing to I get to the front of their class before Aizawa walks in. Even people with an evil quirk can be heroes. Like the guy with the explodey haircut over there. Me gesturing towards Bakugo. Bakugo's like, what's that supposed to mean? I'm like, exactly what it sounds like, you blonde-headed dummy. And he's like, what was that, you? You know, I snap, and shadow, tendrils appear and wrap around him, forcing him down into a seat. Like I was saying, he starts triggering explosions, which doesn't even phase them, because I'm gonna say they create a nearly impenetrable, like chitin shield, like a tendril. The tendrils create like a layer of chitin that is, explosive resistant. Like, they adapt to nearly anything, although the power is only limited by my imagination, such as my quirk. I raise my hand into the air and do I spin my finger around, and I'm gonna say like a shadow Gaster Blaster comes out. If you don't know what Gaster Blaster is, go look up Undertale. It's pretty cool. It's a fun game. I've played it myself a little bit on a friend's computer. It was fun. Because it's Undertale. It's a little bit of a spoiler. It's Sans' special attack weapon. So I'm gonna say, I begin walking, to go sit down in my seat, and they're like, so what happened to Mineta? Oh, he was the UA traitor. He was expelled and sent to jail. Anyway, I'm gonna say that, once, they heard that, they were like, that kind of makes sense. Mina's like, I knew we shouldn't have trusted that idiot. That little Jiro's like, well, it only makes sense. The weirdest of the bunch are normally the bad guys. I stand up and I'm like, now that I see you in person, you're actually a lot cuter than I thought you would be. Jiro, she does like intense blushing noises. Mina's like, ooh, already making moves. He's like, what can I say? She's adorable. I mean, look at her. Like, legit. Look at her. She's adorable. He proceeds to... oh, God. I proceed to pet her on the head. And I'm like, because she is adorable. Anyway. So, we need to hurry up before Aizawa wakes up. Everybody sit down. It'd probably be best. Bakugo is still wrapped up in the void tendrils, trying to explode his way out. And I'm like, should I let him out? I wait till I start hearing Aizawa's footsteps, and right as he's about to open the door, I let him out. And he screams, you idiot! He starts running towards me. Aizawa nullifies his quirk and wraps him up in the, basically the capture scarf. And he's like, Bakugo, lay off of the new student. I'm gonna say I haven't introduced myself yet, so they just thought I was just an alternate, pretty much, because, there's such thing as an alternate, because some teachers are sick, or, something. They're like, wait, new student? And I said, yeah, me. What do you think I was? They were like, we thought you were an alternate. And I was like, what? You have that? They were like, you didn't know? I was like, no, how was I supposed to know? I was like, alright. So kid, get up, introduce yourself. You know, I was like, crap, I didn't come up with a fake name. Crap, 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 crap. You know, I get up to the thing, my face is swelling, I'm like, you know, I scratched my chin, I'm like, crap, what should my fake name be? Crap, 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 crap. You know, Bakugo's like, excuse me, didn't mean for that to happen. He's like, get on with it already, nerd. I'm like, calm down, you angry Pomeranian. You know, everyone looks at Bakugo and they're like, you know what? I kind of see that. You know, Bakugo's like, what? You know, he starts exploding and I was like, Bakugo! You know, I start chuckling. You know, as I was like, great, another mischief maker. Ugh. I'm like, come on, Aizawa. You know I'm not that bad. Matter of fact, don't you remember I helped you on multiple occasions? I helped you out that one time. You know, I look at him and he's like, we don't talk about that. And, you know, Mina's like, ooh, tea, spill. I was like, alright, so here's the tea. You know, he wraps my face in, you know, the capture scarf and he's like, say another word and you're expelled. I'm like, you know, I'm laughing like my butt off under the scarf. I'm like, oh man, it was just a joke. I wasn't actually gonna do it. Oh lord. Alright, you can call me Ainz. Ainz Zulgon. No, not Ainz Zulgon. You can call me Ainz. Ainzul. But please, call me Ainz. So yeah, you know, I go sit down. They're like, well, nice to meet you, Ainz. You know, once I go sit down, you know, I go to sleep. You know, Ida's like, you know, this isn't the proper heroic behavior. I'm like, dude, I've learned this already. Shut up. God, what's your revenge having this? Ugh. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh. Ooh. You know, I get up. I walk over to Ida. Speaking of revenge, pop. You know, I knock Ida out. I'm like, good. This will stop him from trying to get himself killed. You know, Aizawa was like, why did you do that? And I grab my head and I sigh. Dude, you know where I'm from. You know I know something bad is gonna happen when I knock someone out. When I keep someone from doing something. You're about to announce the internships, right? You know, he's like, yeah? Why'd you knock him out? Something... I'll explain it later. Just hurry up and give out the internships. I'm gonna go take a nap. Oh, first I'm gonna drag this idiot to Recovery Girl and ask her that she doesn't wake him up until after the internships. You know, he's like, fair enough. You know, everyone's like, how come he gets... What? He's like, he was a major asset. One of his shadow abilities allows him to see into the future. The very near future. So, you know, after I dragged Ida there, I threw him onto the bed. I'm like, alright, Recovery Girl, don't wake him up until a week later. Because you know that I know something bad is going to happen when I make sure, you know, someone's out of commission. Oh, that is nightmare fuel. Anyway. So I'm going to say, you know, you know what? That's where I'm going to end the episode. Yeah, I'm not going to do the Stay in Ark until the next part.